starts now.
You bet it does. Welcome into Tuesday's edition of The Big Show on your total sports station, KTGR. Andy Humphrey and Brendan Schaefer here as we venture on into the rest of this week. Mizzou patiently awaiting their first game in the SEC tournament. The bracketology projections, Brendan, they're not gospel, but once you get a bunch of them compiled, they start to tell you what's probably going to happen. And a lot of them are saying that, hey, Mizzou is still on that line to avoiding Dayton, but just on that line. You know?
Maybe the very last team to avoid it, but then if you have one team that steals a bid over the course of this week, you know what that means if those projections are correct.
So we're going to talk about what if Mizzou does fall to that Dayton territory once again. They were well above it about a week ago, but now could be flirting with that once again if they lose their first game on Thursday. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about more NFL free agency. What's been the best fit so far out of all the moves, and what's been the worst fit that you've seen out there? So we'll discuss that. We'll discuss what the Chiefs need to do next and a lot more. Tell us what you think at 875-KTGR.
Now, the Big Show's Big Deal.
The mouse was happy there. We just wanted to make sure you were on your toes. Mizzou is still awaiting that next opponent, but the way that it looks right now, according to ESPN's Joe Lunardi, Santa Clara got a big win last night over St. Mary's that really boosted their status and probably puts them in the NCAA tournament field as it stands now. And so Mizzou is the third to last team in that last four buys category, which means they're really only a couple spots away from falling to the last four in, which would put them in the first four territory and go to Dayton potentially to play another one of those last four teams in. Again, that's not exactly what it's going to be for sure. NCAA tournament committee will have their own opinion different from Lunardi, but it's a characterization of how close Mizzou might be to being in that certain round of the NCAA tournament. And that's the Big Show's big deal on this 10th day of March 2026. You can give us a call or text here at 573-875-KTGR. So look, Brendan, it only happens if they lose Thursday to most likely Kentucky. That is the only chance of us continuing to have that type of conversation. And if they lose that game, the rest of Thursday and all of Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're going to be wondering, shoot, what did the committee, how much do they ding Mizzou for this, right? I don't think it will not be enough to drop them out of the tournament. But Brandon, it's still very much a possibility that the Tigers might have to be more quickly ready to start their tournament run than maybe they would be in most cases.
Yeah, I would say if you have one instance of a bid being stolen, that should put Mizzou on high alert. You had a result that I would say goes against what Missouri would have needed with Santa Clara upsetting St. Mary's in the West Coast Conference tournament. It's kind of one of those deals where if everybody says that St. Mary's is good, that makes them good. And so if you are able to beat them and you don't have very many other losses, then you must be good too. And that's a little story of how the West Coast Conference is going to get three teams in there this year. I think that's a big win for Santa Clara, and a lot of bracketology folks would say that moves them either right in line or maybe ahead of Missouri. And obviously, I don't think Missouri gets dinged for losing to Kentucky, especially if it's close. But if you lose by 5 points to Kentucky and it's already kind of considered a tie between you and Santa Clara for whatever spot on the seed line we're talking about, Santa Clara is going to get the tiebreaker because their loss is going to come to Gonzaga, assuming it comes. And I think that probably puts Missouri behind an additional team. And now you're really watching the bid stealers. The Atlantic 10 actually ends up being super duper relevant, I think, to where Missouri ends up going, because that's another league that everybody kind of figures SLU is in. And I think St. Louis is in, unless they have a real bad loss in the opening round in Pittsburgh this week. But beyond that, like if SLU doesn't win the tournament and if VCU goes on a run but doesn't win the tournament, is there a third team like a Dayton that could get in? I mean, it could get messy when it comes to the A10. And that's just, a couple of examples of bid stealing that could be happening. I think Missouri right now is right on the line of that. And as much as I think the teams below the Tigers on the bubble are pretty weak, what can you say? Like, there's not really any defense of Missouri where you had built this nice little cushion, and then you get clobbered by Oklahoma, and you had every opportunity to beat Arkansas on your home floor with Darius Acuff Jr. not participatory in the game, and you didn't do either of those things. And so now you kind of leave it up to riding the storm this week, unfortunately, and hopefully it's a calm week, a calm storm, but a lot of times in this type of week, it's not.
People are going to point to Mizzou's non-con more so than I think most of what happened in conference play, but you're right. It's not a strong finish. In order to just quell all doubt, they needed one win out of these last couple of weeks and still have not been able to get it. They still have a chance, though. Like, if they beat Kentucky, all of this goes away. Like,
yes.
You are having a house money type of game against Florida the very next day, saying, all right, you know what, we're in. Let's take our shot and see how far we can go in this bracket. But would you feel okay with this team being in Dayton, essentially? Like, would that feel like you technically would be in the NCAA tournament? Would you feel that you are, though, essentially?
Yeah, I'm looking at the teams right now listed among the last four in. UCF, VCU, SMU, Indiana is the foursome there, according to Joe Lenardi. Auburn, his first team out.
Yeah. And
Stanford suffering a bad loss to Pitt in the ACC tournament. They're done. They don't have a chance at this point, having already lost today. I read off those teams to give you an example of maybe, the types of teams that you might be going up against. On the good side of the Dayton conversation right now is Missouri, just barely, Santa Clara, Texas, and NC State. So Texas has to play Ole Miss in the SEC tournament opening day on Wednesday. You're certainly, you would take a win for Ole Miss there, because I think that would be a much more punishing blow to tournament hopes for a team like Texas compared to Missouri having to face Kentucky, a team that's safely in the field. So maybe that goes their way. But yeah, it feels like they might deserve to go to Dayton, if I'm being honest. Like, I want them to avoid it, because you might not even make the round of 64. But it's hard to argue, just based on merit. I think arguing against the other teams is easier, though. Arguing against the other teams in the conversation. But like, we could spend all weekend thinking we know what it is and where Missouri stands, and that their name, that Tiger logo, could still pop up on, they still do it on CBS, could still pop up on Sunday night on CBS when they do the selection show and say, hey guys, get ready to play in Dayton, because your game's in, 46 hours or whatever it's going to end up being. So it feels like they might deserve it, but I'm rooting against it because it's a dangerous place to be, even though there have been teams with success that have emerged out of the Dayton pods to go on to do really quality things in the tournament. Maybe a kick in the butt is what Missouri would need in that instance, but I hope they just show up to play against Kentucky and can put this to bed.
I don't know if this team is best suited to ride that type of momentum, though.
Like a momentum of, hey, we won in Dayton, here we go.
Because,
we'll be 11.
When have they been able to build up momentum in most cases in this season? Not much
at all.
Yeah. Like that, maybe a short 3-game stretch in the middle of conference play that featured some teams that are not going to be playing in this tournament come March. Like, they won't be there. You will be facing teams that are mostly top 50 in the net, mostly have beaten teams that you have also beaten, or the same type of caliber teams. And this is where the rubber meets the road on that kind of stuff, where all these best teams show their best. And I wouldn't even give them, I think they'll be favored in their game in Dayton, no matter who their opponent is. Brendan, that's still energy that you got to expend. That's another trip. That's having to have a quick turnaround right after Selection Sunday, especially if you're playing on Tuesday. Who knows? The draw there is kind of random. But anyway, there's still a lot that goes into those first 4 games that, usually teams are able to use it as momentum. This Missouri team like, yeah, it's possible that could build a little bit of confidence for them. Like, say, oh, we've got some good juice now. We've got another win in March. Let's see what else we can get. But I think if they're coming off of a loss to Kentucky on Thursday and they're having to stew over that for a little bit, and now all of a sudden they're playing in a first 4 game, like, I'd rather them get the kick in the butt in this week and not have to worry about that going forward.
That's ideal. I think they'll be an underdog though against Kentucky. If they can find a way to win, then this conversation is, completely in the past, and they'll be probably a single-digit seed. We'll be talking about, oh man, we wish they weren't in the 8-9 game. But I think that everything that has happened this season has led you to this precarious moment where, you're hoping no matter what, Andy, we're going to be hoping for good fortune on Selection Sunday, because you could beat Kentucky and lose to Florida, which is the almost guaranteed outcome of that game, in my opinion. And then we'll be sitting there going, all right, we know they're in, we know they're not going to Dayton, but can they get a good draw? Can we see something favorable? You put yourself in a situation where I think Missouri is going to be more reliant on that type of stuff on Selection Sunday than a lot of teams. But there is, I think, the thing that benefits them of, you are an SEC team, and nobody can take away that you had a winning record in SEC play. Like, the conversation, I see a lot of it over the past week where people are talking about, the bubble is weak, and here are the things we could do to change it. Mandate it for power conference teams that you got to have a winning record or a 500 record. Well, even if people felt that way, Missouri's got that in the league that I still think is largely considered to be the toughest one. So there are a lot of aspects working in their favor. Is the WAB? The WAB had favored them. I assume the WAB is still moderately favorable.
41 in WAB.
41's a solid spot to be in that metric. So I think they're going to be okay unless they no-show against Kentucky. And if they no-show against Kentucky, that's what Dayton's for, to be honest with you, is the teams that, tournament caliber team. But if you go get popped on the road to a non-tournament Oklahoma team, and then you go and blow an opportunity at home against a good team that would have put you over the top, and then you get blown out in Nashville on a neutral floor, that's Missouri probably should go to Dayton at that point. And I'll be back trying to train myself or retrain myself mentally to get to that place of, no, I'm not going to let them hurt me again. I thought when the season began, I was insulated. I wasn't going to let this Missouri team get to me emotionally. And then I've been riding the roller coaster. Man, if they don't show up against Kentucky, I'll be like, all right, whatever. Put them wherever you want. I want them to be in, absolutely. But
they should be. Like, they should be in no matter what.
But I can't ride the highs and lows of whatever that, opening round loss in Dayton to VCU or to SMU. Like, if they're the type of team that can put a little run together in March and can make the most of their talents and their capabilities, because they have those things, they've got a lot of talent. They're capable. We've seen it, but we've seen it sporadically. Maybe a spot in Dayton against a mid-major-y type of team or another high major that is having the same conversation going, oh my gosh, how do we manage, not to avoid this fate? Maybe that's what they need. I don't know. But it's hard to keep guessing at what this team's going to do, because it's just been that type of roller coaster, I would say, for a second year in a row, because 2 years ago when they went 0 in conference play, we just kind of all knew what that was.
Oh, yeah.
Last year, you saw some incredible highs and obviously some really unfortunate lows, and the timing of those lows is what everybody remembers. And now we're going, all right, here we go again. We're in a spot where this is a tournament caliber team. Are they going to play some of their best basketball in March when it counts the most, or have we already seen it? And we'll be having this conversation all off season of, what is Dennis Gates? What is his Missouri tenure? And like all that annoyance that we don't really like to talk about. But the more years we pile up the data points, we go, I don't know. Fair to ask. So I want them to put a stamp on this season rather than leave it with a whimper. And if that's Dayton, that's Dayton. But I do think,
like, get a win in Dayton. Like, would you feel like it? Like, would a win in Dayton, would that be something that you at least give to Dennis Gates? It probably wouldn't be for the haters, but like,
it would be something more than nothing, but it wouldn't be, I'm not, crowning him of anything. Brandon says on our Facebook, I wouldn't mind being in Dayton. Beats one of the alternatives of not being involved at all. Right. I just don't think that's likely at this point. And so I'm kind of positioning it in my mind. It's either Dayton or you're in the field. And I would like to see them be in the round of 64. And so, however that may come, am I going to give Dennis Gates more credit for guiding a team to the round of 64 without Dayton versus, well, you won an additional game? I'm not going to give him more credit for winning in Dayton than just getting to the rounds of 64. But I've also said, like, getting to the round of 64, especially where we thought this team was heading in December, would be acceptable. I wouldn't call it, satisfying, but it would be acceptable. That would be another requisite type of season to say, hey, hopefully that means we're building something. 2 tournaments in a row would be noteworthy, Andy, and it kind of feels like you should go ahead and get to the round of 64 so that when we say 2 tournaments in a row, there's not half of the fan base that is maybe rightfully going to put an asterisk on that.
Actually,
like,
get to the tournament.
Let's just go ahead and get to the round of 64. However you do that, whether that's playing well against Kentucky and the committee decides you're worthy, or you don't, but you win a game in Dayton. Either way, I think those are equal. But I think anything short of it is a disappointment. Yeah, if you bow out in Dayton in a lame type of performance like you had against Drake last year, yeah, I would say that would be disappointing at this point, because certainly a week ago this time they were in a situation where they really controlled it all, and now you're letting that slip through your fingers if you don't show well in Nashville. Yeah,
call or text us. What if Mizzou falls to Dayton? How would you feel, Tiger fans, about that situation? Would winning a game in Dayton give you a little more confidence or not? Or does it matter? Give us your thoughts at 875-KTGR.
How do you view that, though? If it's made the round of 64 on merit versus round of 68, but got to win, is one better than the other? Or are you looking at that like me and going, whatever, you're in the tournament now. Good, let's start.
I don't like saying that the tournament doesn't start at that point.
Starts,
like, it still starts in Dayton. I get it. We don't have, and look, like, if they expand the tournament and it's, another 8 games that they stick on Tuesday and Wednesday, then I know people will groan over we're letting too many bad teams in.
Yeah.
I still think that it will be fun basketball those days, and we'll get over it. That being said, yeah, you want to give above this watermark. Like, honestly, just beating Kentucky again would be enough for me to say. It's not even just, do you clear the bar of being a bye team? It's like, you beat Kentucky and you were able to ride that into another chance to maybe advance in this conference tournament against clearly the best team.
Yeah, you could say not a fluke. The Kentucky thing wasn't a fluke. We did it again.
Leave no doubt, right? Beat them away from our home floor in 2 different gyms. Like, that's pretty good. So, like, for that, I would want that more for them than even just like the bye conversation of, are you avoiding Dayton? Are you not? I just think the psychology of knowing that you got to win in March, that you're on the board before you actually get to the point where your season could end on this one day, is more important than just, are we playing Tuesday or are we playing Thursday or Friday, whatever it might be. That's what I would want for this Mizzou team more so than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, that's reasonable. And, like, there is something to be said that the type of game they'll be playing on Thursday is probably about as difficult as it could have been, because I would say Kentucky's a little scarier than even some of the teams that are probably seeded a little more highly. But that's just the way that the tiebreakers all fell together. And so, like, I do think it would be a meaningful win, to say that Kentucky's a tournament team for sure. And if that's who you end up playing and you can get that win, as long as they show up for their tournament game, I don't know about this moral victories conversation, but I would feel a lot better about it. The problem with the Drake game last year is, like, they didn't show up and they had a bad plan, and Drake had a good one. Right. And it was everything we feared it might be if there was going to be an upset. Like, be competitive, put your best out there. And, I don't want to have a moral victory conversation because they played close. But I do think that's better than the conversation we'll be having if they don't. If they just flat out don't show up, whether that's in a round of 64 game, a round of 68 game in Dayton, or even when we're talking about Thursday in Nashville taking on a team that it's going to be Kentucky. You beat them once, they're going to be gunning for you for that reason. How do you respond to that? I think matters. Is there a result against Kentucky that you'll be like, you know what, they didn't win, but I'll like say it's not a moral victory, but at least thank goodness we didn't get popped, because we probably won't be punished if we lose a heartbreaker.
I mean, it would be have to be like a one possession type deal.
Like down at the end, you just fall short. Maybe
but there would be pain there in saying you missed a shot and you couldn't tie it or take the lead.
I think that pain would be worth it because I think the committee would go, wow, you know what? Missouri hasn't won the last couple of games, but look who they went toe to toe with and overtime against Arkansas, and they went the distance with Kentucky. I'm not a moral victories guy, but I think that like when we are on the margins as thin as they are, and it feels like that's where Missouri is right now.
Yeah.
When that's the case, I think you grab onto anything you can get, and as long as they show okay against Kentucky,
right?
There are more teams that are bad on this bubble that should be in Dayton instead of Missouri. But you've left it up to a decision where you didn't make it obvious.
And that would be on Mizzou, right? Yeah, that'd be they're doing.
I don't think we'll be able to complain about committee did this or that. We still might do it.
Oh yeah,
but I don't think we'll be justified in it if Missouri doesn't show up against Kentucky and play a good game.
All right. Well, we'll talk more about that, of course, as the week rolls along. By this time tomorrow, we'll know for sure whether it's Kentucky or LSU. Looking pretty likely that it's going to be Kentucky, but we'll obviously break that down. Yeah, it will be. Or what if LSU?
Do we have a spread yet? Do we know anything?
Got to have a spread by now, right?
Would think so. I haven't looked yet.
We'll have a quick look-see to see
how reckless I'm gonna get on the.
Well,
I told you I'm taking Kentucky spread.
I mean, why wouldn't you? In your jurisdiction of legality, 20. We do not give out betting advice, but anything like that.
I do. It's not always good one. It's not always good advice.
Don't always take the advice that you hear on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. I'm still looking as well at that.
I haven't seen anything, but it's got to be popping up here like tonight.
Here we go, 7.5.
Yeah, man, I think it's a fair number, but I think it's not enough to keep me away from Kentucky in that one.
I think you're right. They're blowing them out. It is at least a 10-point win. Like, come on.
Yeah, if I find a number at 7.5, I'll probably have to go ahead and
start it at 6.5. So you gotta make sure that you lock that in because it might rise some more.
Got to find one of my various jurisdictions and make sure to make that happen.
Well, either way, we'll see how Mizzou does in that game on Thursday, and it would be one that if they win, no matter who they're playing, it's going to solidify their spot. If they lose it, Dayton's very much on the table. How would you feel, Tiger fans, about them being exposed to Dayton in the first four, potentially, in the NCAA tournament? Call or text us at 875-KTGR. We're going to talk baseball and injuries and Chiefs signings, some interesting ones, and maybe some injury adjacent things to discuss with guys like Ken Walker and Travis Kelce. With the injury expert, Will Carroll, who'll join us next on The Big Show, KTGR.
Breaking down the Tigers, Cardinals, Chiefs, and more like no one else. The Big Show continues next on KTGR.
Paradise doesn't have to be far away. Sometimes it's a quiet walk through a state park. Sometimes it's your favorite takeout and a night in. At Shangri-La, we believe that cannabis belongs in those everyday moments, not as an escape, but as part of living well. That's why we offer 20% off select category every day, plus 20% off store-wide every Sunday. Thoughtful products, honest guidance, real value. Shangri-La, discover paradise. Learn more at ShangriLaDispensaries.com.
From elegant weddings to corporate lunches with flavor and flair, Courtyard by Marriott Columbia brings the party and the pros. It's the home of Main Event Catering. And with every event, you'll get an award-winning chef, full banquet staff, and drop-and-go options for any size crowd. And the event center holds up 300 guests with 8 flexible rooms. If you need help, there's a Marriott certified wedding coordinator on staff too. Book now by calling 573-443-8000.
Do-it-yourself projects are getting a lot more popular, and that's great. Some things you gotta leave to the pros, like welding. Think of it like watching your favorite team and yelling at the guy who biffed the play that you so easily could have made. No, you couldn't. Or you'd be out there doing it. Leave the sports to the pros and the welding to Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. Repair work to custom fabrication. Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. True beauty is on the outside. Kretsch'sCustomExteriors.com.
Lee's Tire Company has been around longer than the internet, longer than the Happy Meal, and since before Star Wars hit the big screen. For 55 years, they've been family-owned right here in our community, fixing flats, solving problems, and doing honest work to get you back on the road. So while you might not be able to pick your family, you can pick your tire place. And once you pick Lee's Tire Company, you'll join their family forever.
Lee's Tire Company is round for you. Ooh, see Lee's.
The Como Man Show is almost here. This Saturday, March 14th at the Northeast Events Center where the Boone County Fair is held. You can win prizes in the hot wing eating contest or enter to win prizes like sweet tickets to a Mizzou game, iron rocking chairs with a fire pit, Royals pub table, concert tickets, and more. With food trucks and tasty beverages available. Plus, a portion of the proceeds will be given to the VIP Veteran Pack program. General admission and VIP tickets on sale now at ComoManShow.com.
From the trainers to the coaches, the equipment managers to the players and fans, it takes a whole team to be truly successful. Hi, this is Sophie Cunningham, and if you're looking for the best team of jewelers in Columbia, it's Betts. Their staff has years of experience handcrafting jewelry, and when you combine that with the newest technology, it gives Betts Jewelers the ability to truly wow their customers. So talk to the team at your hometown jeweler today. Betts Jewelers in downtown Columbia.
These beautiful moments begin at Betts. Begin at Betts.
Life has many sweet sounds, whether it's being enchanted by the coo of a baby, enthralled by the refrain of a favorite song, or even enlightened by a celebration. Hearing connects, informs, and engages us with the world. At Hearing Aid Consultants, helping people hear better is our passion. Set your hearing baseline now so you don't miss the sweet sounds of life.
Hearing Aid Consultants in Allmake Repair Lab. We are here for you today so you can hear tomorrow. HearingAidConsultants.com.
Back to more of the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. You've got The Big Show on the KTGR app.
Hey, if you're watching the WBC last night, you saw some pretty sweet plays from Bobby Witt Jr. at shortstop. Team USA defeating Mexico yesterday. Getting closer to the Major League Baseball season. Of course, NFL free agency period underway as well. Lots to discuss as we bring in the injury expert Will Carroll here on the KTGR hotline. You can see him with his newsletter at undertheknife.substack.com. You can also see his podcast, Injury Territory, which is live now wherever you get your podcasts. And Will, WBC so far has been pretty entertaining in the first week. And, you know, we've seen those stellar performances from those guys, despite the fact that they're still ramping up for the season. But how have you kind of viewed the tournament so far?
Yeah, that's the one thing that's a little off for me. And we've got to figure this out. I think part of it is the timing of it being here basically in spring training, is that these players aren't ramped up, that they aren't deep. So we're going to see them limited. We've already seen Tarek Skubal leave. That was his deal with the Tigers, and the Tigers held him to it. Pretty much acknowledging that he's not going to be with the Tigers next year. And Skeens was out there for just 4. Now the question is, what are the limitations? What are the handcuffs they've got on Mark DeRosa? And as it gets to these tighter games, do the major league players for any of these teams operate under different restrictions from some of the others? Do the Japanese go out there and go harder than we do? Or is somebody going to look around and say, DeRosa, I'm good. I'm going back out for another inning. They should have enough arms. I mean, that's not the question. It's a question of quality. Even with the relievers we have, seeing Paul Skeens out of the game has to make the opponent feel really, really good, even when it's, you know, somebody like Italy.
Been a lot of fun watching that World Baseball Classic, and certainly we'll see more of that to come. I want to ask you, though, Will, shifting to some St. Louis Cardinals thoughts. Ivan Herrera dealt with some knee issues last year. The Cardinals came in saying that after the elbow surgery, he was going to be a catcher again. Now dealing with another knee issue. Was scratched this week for knee inflammation. What's the short-term implication here with this? And then long-term for Herrera, how is this going to work with him trying to catch again?
Yeah, that's the open question, is what's causing this. Indications are that it's meniscal, and if so, that certainly doesn't bode well for catching. So is he good enough to be just a DH? And at 24, is this pretty much just a sign that he's not going to stay healthy? I mean, we've been kind of blessed seeing that there's really two types of people that can catch, and they seem to do it forever. Yadier Molina, Carlton Fisk, Pudge Rodriguez. On the other hand, there are guys who just break down under the load, and they become much less physically able and have to move positions, shift around. Some of them, you get the extreme cases like Craig Biggio. But with this one, I'm just worried that it's one thing after another. It's not one thing. So I just don't know how well Herrera is going to hold up under that load. They have other arms or other bodies back there. So I'm not terribly worried about the catching situation, but Herrera has been good in the past. So it's tough to watch.
Will Carroll, the injury expert here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Over to the Royals, another one that they'll maybe have to watch here during the last few weeks before the regular season starts. Michael Massey said he felt a calf tweak when he made a play on Friday against the Dodgers. They said that the tightness didn't go away in the games afterwards, and so they're going to have him checked out and see what the injury timeline looks like for him, at least a week that he'll be out of play. But how do you kind of see that situation for him and the Royals' options, obviously, on the infield and where they want to try and fit Massey in?
Yeah, with that, I'm not terribly worried about it. It's a question of, what do they do there with that platoon? Does it become just Jonathan India? Do you move somebody over? They're playing right now without Bobby Witt because he's diving all over the field in Houston. So it's one of those situations where, again, it's spring, so they've got time. They can be a little more cautious with things than they might be in the season. We always hear that if this was the playoffs, well, if this was the regular season, they'd be making a decision on this. The fact that they're playing this very slow tells me the calf strain isn't that significant, that they think he can get back out there. And then, hey, what the heck? We've got time to see some other kids while those two are out.
Will, as I was looking at the NL Central coming into the year, I was thinking the Reds could be formidable with their rotation all kind of coming together, but already we're not going to see it at full strength. Hunter Green to undergo surgery out till July. What's the story surrounding this, and what's the long-term application to how it could impact him?
Yeah, this is another tough one because Green is that good. He's the ace that would have made the Reds a contender for at least being competitive if everything came together. They've got some good young pitchers. So they'll need to see those Wake Forest kids and Lauder and Burns step up now, or at least one of them, if not both. But Green had a bone spur, and it was bothering him at the end of the year. They thought it would go away. They didn't realize exactly where it was. The problem was when they looked at it, they realized it was hitting a nerve. And you can imagine what that's like. He described it as a stabbing pain with every extension. That doesn't seem fun. The surgery itself isn't that hard. It's the location of where they took it away. They didn't transpose the nerve, which is actually going to allow him to come back quicker. They're saying July. I think it might be a little bit quicker than that. Green has, he had his Tommy John a long time ago. If there's any good thing coming out of this, I was worried about this since his Tommy John is well over 5 years ago. Was this another problem? And since they went in the elbow, they got a chance to look around, and evidently that UCL is just fine. So I think Green will be back late June, early July, have half a season of him. Hopefully the Reds can hold it together until then.
Will Carroll, the injury expert here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Let's move over to football, Will, since the legal tampering period is underway, and the Chiefs have reportedly made quite a few moves. And one of the big ones, big splash, bringing in Kenneth Walker, the Super Bowl MVP from this past season from the Seahawks, to address their running back situation. We've seen Walker have a few injury issues last couple of years or so. Last year, pretty healthy, but Zach Charbonnet was kind of almost a 50-50 split, maybe even a little more in Charbonnet's favor at times. But then Charbonnet gets hurt, and they turn to Walker exclusively for the playoff run. Now, as he goes to the Chiefs, for the type of running back that he is, he tries to preserve his body, still going to be entering age 26 season. How do you view his longevity on that 3-year contract that he's got?
Yeah, age 26. They're not going to get into what should be the heavy decline phase, but these guys take a pound, literally a pounding every game, and he took more of it. He's obviously going to have time to rest. The other thing to think about here is two things. First, it's not going to be just him back there. The Chiefs have already shown a tendency to split the carries, to try to split the roles up. I don't know the contract situations and everybody there off the top of my head, but at least a couple of those will be back. The other is that coming out of the combine, the Chiefs looked around and were like, you know what? I don't know if Jeremiah Love is going to be there. Everybody knew they were focused on him. They were hoping he was going to drop to him at, 8 or 9? And they weren't sure that was going to happen. Did they want to trade up? No, not really. So if he still drops to them, I still think they take him, have just an absolute powerhouse duo, and on the cheap, on one half of it. So I think this is one of those situations where everything just came together. They knew they had a need at the position. And getting Travis Kelce back as well, I think the offense is going to help itself, and they've certainly been working on defense.
What do you make of that Kelce situation? Will, there was obviously the question of would he decide to hang him up? And with the Chiefs maybe having not a rebuild in front of them, but it's going to be tough to get right back into the Super Bowl this next season. How do you view that decision in the knowledge that he is coming back?
I think there's a couple things that really this tells me. But the first is that everyone, including Kelce, feels really good about Patrick Mahomes. He's coming back from the knee surgery. They reconstructed the ACL. He's doing really, really well. And I think that Kelce wanted one more shot. They had to leave him with a bad taste in his mouth that they didn't make the playoffs, that he didn't go out, holding Mahomes' hand up to the air, if not a trophy. He's going to have a busy summer. So I'm curious if he's going to come in fully focused, but I think he will. I mean, he's a player. He's a professional. He's going to have himself in shape. Is he going to be, the all-star world-class tight end that he has been? No, he's aging, but he's still in pretty darn good shape. At least Taylor Swift thinks so.
I mean, that inspired him to come back, it seems. So that's at least a good sign in the right direction for one Travis Kelce. Will, what's new at Under the Knife and Injury Territory?
With both. We've taken a deep look at that. We've looked at, this will be one you like. I'm sure you watched today's with Tatsuya Imai. They got a pitch, everybody's calling a reverse slider, and all I see is a screwball. So I've gone fairly deep on that the last couple of days, talked with Hunter Green, and we've got some really interesting interviews coming up at Injury Territory later this week.
Yeah, go and check it out wherever you get your podcasts, Injury Territory, and go and subscribe to Will Carroll's newsletter as well for insider info on Major League Baseball injuries. That's undertheknife.substack.com. And it's great to have Will here on the Big Show, KTGR, to talk all things baseball injuries. Thanks, Will, for coming on. Hope you're well. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, all boys.
Big Show is on. It's 440 KTGR in the KTGR app. He was talking about that for the Japanese pitcher that the Astros signed in the offseason. Big dollar pitcher, appears to have a slider that is going the opposite direction of what you would expect a slider to go.
Right. And normally the screwball is almost like, I don't know, like a more pronounced change up, but it's directionally what we think of when we think of these. Okay, oh, well, that's, a screwball versus a slider that goes the other way. Well, I don't really know if that's called a slider anymore, but they sometimes will throw it similarly. And so the guy throwing it's like, I don't know, I'm just doing what I do to throw my slider. And then it's like, well, the ball's going that way. What do you make of it? So that's kind of fun to get into the weeds a little bit on pitching and pitch shape and those sorts of things.
I don't know. When I think screwball, I think of a pitch that actually does a corkscrew as it goes to the plate, and there'll be slugfest, right? Yeah.
I was going to say, I think you're talking about a cartoon version of a video game. If we had that.
That's a screwball,
backyard
right?
Baseball.
Backyard baseball
certainly had one like that.
All the other ones,
which they brought that back. I haven't got the new one yet, but I think it's supposed to be coming out.
Did they bring it back for? It's on a system, right? Is it on an actual console, or can you play it online like you used to almost?
Yeah, I think there's probably now. It seems like any video game there's an online component, but I don't know if that one needs it. Looks like July 2026, so it hasn't dropped yet, which is why. Because I thought sometimes, Andy, when you have kids, you're excited about something, and then you go, maybe that's already happened and I didn't realize it, and I just
Right.
happened to miss it. It's been known to happen, but in this case, no. July is when the new backyard baseball is coming out, and I'll see if they've got a corkscrew or a screwball or what have you.
That's MLB Slugfest without the punching.
No slugging?
No, well, slug one way or the other. Did you ever play MLB Slugfest?
No, but did they punch people in it?
Yes, you can punch people.
Okay,
That's part of the part of the ire, not the ire.
The game
but
that reminds me of is the football one.
Yeah, well, same people,
Blitz,
same people.
NFL
Yes,
Blitz.
I think it's
Yeah.
the same. Yeah, it's by
Makes
Midway,
Yeah.
and I think that was along the same vein, same like announcer guy, for both of them.
In Blitz, it's like the guy would jump into the air and then he'd like pull out a hammer, and you're like, ah! That's how violent that game was, but it's so fun to play.
That was
good arcade game.
They won't come out with games like that anymore. I don't think
they will.
No, I think today's kids are not going to have.
I don't think our society is good for that
games
anymore. It was a time and place. That's all there is to it.
Oh man. Well, the good news is your kids will get to an age where you will be up to date on what video games are out eventually. There you go.
Yeah, you get your butt kicked though, probably.
That's probably
you know.
Yeah,
that'll be an ego check.
875 KTGR. Give us a call or a text. All right, under the bus coming up next. This one, what will there be a bid stealing situation with this in the WAC based on Utah Valley's current situation? The WAC threatening to keep them out of the tournament entirely unless they pay up. That's next.
Now, your local Sports Center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. Mizzou baseball had to move up their start time for today's midweek game against Southern Indiana due to potential weather later on tonight. The Tigers look to be well on their way. As a matter of fact, I've just gone final as the Tigers defeat Southern Indiana 14-6 over at Taylor Stadium. That is now a 15-2 start for Mizzou baseball and 13 consecutive victories. Their first conference series of the season will be this weekend as the Tigers take on Auburn, who's ranked number 6. First pitch of the first game will be Friday at 6 o'clock. We'll give you a chance to win tickets to that game on Friday night. Coming up here on the Big Show with a chance to win them at 5:20. Mizzou softball yesterday was swept at Florida, losing the finale 5-2. They are 7-16 to start the year. They'll have a midweek tomorrow as they take on Tennessee. Martin looking to get back in the swing of things in non-conference play. And Mark Mitchell named a second-team All-SEC selection by the league yesterday. Mizzou is the 8th seed in the SEC tournament. They'll play Thursday in Nashville at 11:30.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking showers and storms tonight. Some of those could be strong to severe as a weather alert day continues through late this evening. Showers will continue through tomorrow, ending by around midday. Temperatures continue to fall throughout the day from the mid-50s down into the 40s by late afternoon. Heading towards Thursday, we start out near the freezing mark in the morning. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Midway Electric presents the High School Sports Power Play of the Week.
Kicks out, 3 on the way from Blanton. That rattles out. Rebound by Kritza of Rockbridge. Back they race the other way. Oh, what a pass to Timbrook, who lays it in. Boy, he fired that one coast to coast over to Timbrook, Kritza did. And quickly back-to-back buckets there.
That's the Power Play of the Week with Midway Electric, powered by people with pride. MidwayElectricInc.com.
Step into a real-life snow globe with Zimmer Communications and Colette Travel on this 9-day European vacation. Stroll Prague, Dresden, Vienna, and Budapest. From castles and cathedrals to twinkling market stalls. Sip warm Glühwein, shop handcrafted gifts, and even visit a family-run candy workshop. Learn more by joining us in Colette Travel Tuesday, March 17th at 5:30 at Courtyard Marriott Columbia on Lamone Industrial Boulevard. RSVP today at ZimmerCommunications.com.
Life has many sweet sounds, whether it's being enchanted by the coo of a baby, enthralled by the refrain of a favorite song, or even enlightened by a celebration. Hearing connects, informs, and engages us with the world. At Hearing Aid Consultants, helping people hear better is our passion. Set your hearing baseline now so you don't miss the sweet sounds of life.
Hearing Aid Consultants in Almake Repair Lab. We are here for you today so you can hear tomorrow. HearingAidConsultants.com.
My name is Max Volkner. I'm a marketing consultant with Zimmer Communications. Working as a marketing consultant was not something I was expecting to do in my lifetime whatsoever. So getting the job here and then having so many helpful people around you to help you be successful was really awesome for me and is what made me fall in love with this job. Team is great. We all want to see each other succeed. I think that's a huge part of working here and huge benefit of working here.
If you're up for the challenge, apply now at ZimmerCommunications.com.
Now through March 31st at Clark Warehouse Tire and Auto, get up to $180 back on a Bridgestone prepaid MasterCard. Get up to $80 back when you purchase 4 eligible Bridgestone tires, plus up to an extra $100 back when you use your CFNA credit card. Upgrade your ride and save big today at any Clark Warehouse Tire and Auto location. Subject to credit approval, restrictions apply. Visit BridgestoneRewards.com for details.
Clark Warehouse Tire and Auto, keeping Missouri rolling since 1949.
My name is Taylor, and I have had insurance with Phyllis Nichols and her team for over 9 years. A auto claim came when my wife was rear-ended. Everyone was safe, but that left a lot of cosmetic damage on her brand new car. We called Phyllis, said, hey, this is what happened, and she's made it a very streamlined process. Phyllis lined out our rental car and made everything just so easy. And having 3 kids and losing a vehicle is a big deal, but Phyllis went to bat for us, got everything lined out, and made it a very easy process.
Paradise doesn't have to be far away. Sometimes it's a quiet walk through a state park. Sometimes it's your favorite takeout and a night in. At Shangri-La, we believe that cannabis belongs in those everyday moments, not as an escape, but as part of living well. That's why we offer 20% off select category every day, plus 20% off store-wide every Sunday. Thoughtful products, honest guidance, real value. Shangri-La, discover paradise. Learn more at ShangriLaDispensaries.com.
Michael Agnew here with API Project Fitness. I understand that life is hard, and if you're soft, it will squish you. You must find a way to be hard. Armor yourself up mentally and physically and emotionally. Our goal is to help you find your inner strength and hardness. The difference between strength and weakness is choice. With our group fitness classes and personal training and open gym, the choice is yours. Choose strength. Find us at APIProjectFitness.com or call us at 573-268-6944 to make an appointment.
They can't shoot it straight on the golf course, but they can shoot straight on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Back to Andy and Brendan on The Big Show on KTGR.
The WAC is wacky right now for their men's basketball tournament. What it could potentially be within the next couple of hours, it seems. Utah Valley is on the clock, apparently. Here's the backstory. Utah Valley is exiting the WAC. They're going to join the Big West, I believe, is the conference they're going to jump to starting next year. The WAC is saying that they have not paid their exit fee. It's $1 million. And they are demanding that Utah Valley pay their exit fee to the court in escrow, or else they will not be able to play in their conference tournament. Brendan, Utah Valley's the number 1 seed. They are the favorites to win the thing. They are most likely going to be taking, as long as they've got the money to pay up in court, they'll be the ones taking the auto bid to the NCAA tournament for the WAC if they win this tournament. But they got to be in the tournament in order to win it. And
they're not getting an at-large. I mean, that conference is not big enough for them to sit out the conference tournament and then be eligible by the NCAA. It's not going to work. So they're probably going to have to come up with that money by 5 o'clock Mountain Time today. I think that the WAC statement said. So
that is coming up in a little more than an hour. So I don't know if I've seen an update on that, whether someone's on their way to the courthouse now.
Yeah, I've said that they're just kind of looking. I've seen it said that they're kind of just looking for instruction on how to pull it off, but that they intend to pay it. We'll see. I mean, I would hope so, because I like it when there's kind of been a little bit of of a rush of this happening where these teams that you would be excited to see potentially play against a mid-major or a major in the NCAA tournament are losing in their conference tournaments. And then people are saying, well, we shouldn't have these tournaments. We should make it easier on the top seeds, which I don't agree with. I like the conference tournaments, but I do generally like when a good, portion of those best teams that won their conference win their tournament so that they can take their shot at Goliath. But if you have too many of those good teams fall out, it seems like Utah Valley would be an interesting, probably a 14 or a 15 seed.
Yeah.
To maybe make some hay, but not if they're
Ken Baum's got them at 90. So
they're decent.
They're a decent team that not at large worthy. I think their WAB is not good enough to.
You're looking at a 13 or a 14 then probably for them if that's where the metrics have them.
I think that's right.
It could be fun. Pay the money because I want to see you play. I don't know anything else about the story, but
no,
that's what I say.
That's true. It's kind of popped up on everybody's radar today because the WAC put out a statement about it saying these are our demands.
And if they agreed to those, exit rules of leaving their conference,
do it. Yeah.
Then the WAC probably within its right to, like Utah Valley maybe thought, maybe nobody notices and then we have no more games to play, so who cares? We'll just be done. But they said, no, not so fast.
No.
Where's our money?
Exactly. Also, under the bus, little bit of a spat, hopefully not too much of a spat between Randy Arozarena and Cal Raleigh. Apparently, Cal Raleigh left him hanging in
I saw this.
in a handshake type deal when was it Arozarena coming up to bat?
Arozarena batting, Raleigh behind the plate, and kind of extended a hand, and there was a little whispering. It looked like whispering because the video is taken from far away. They're kind of chattering back and forth, and did he stiff him on the handshake? I saw a lot of colorful people on Twitter suggesting that no, Randy was trying to trick him into getting pine tar on his hands so it would get on the ball so Paul Skeens would be ejected. I thought that was funny. Not what happened, I don't think. But then Raleigh has since come out and said they've talked it over in the aftermath of that and everything's cool. He loves Randy. But in the moment, you kind of look at that and go, oh, yeah, they are teammates on their real team. Yeah. They're playing for their countries. I think all is well with that. But it was a little, I saw that video and I did kind of have to watch it again to see, is there something here?
Because apparently Arozarena, to a journalist afterwards, speaking in Spanish, used a few vulgarities talking about it, but then changed to English and cleaned up the language. So there's that.
Randy, that's Randy being Randy, though.
I think you're right. I think they've put it to bed, but just we always speculate whenever we can't hear what they're actually saying, and so hopefully
it did look odd. I will say, you are a teammate of this guy. Can you not dap him up with your glove if you just kind of make it go away? But he clearly, it is an international competition and Team USA. There may be some pride there and, not wanting to fraternize.
Tell you what was sweet. Bobby Witt Jr. at shortstop yesterday.
He was so good.
Oh my gosh.
That ended up being a good game.
Yeah.
Competitive. Mexico had beaten the U.S. in 3 previous events. So U.S. certainly wanted to get the better of them, but it wasn't a blowout. It was a close game. And turns out those plays by Bobby Witt maybe, contributed to the U.S. being able to hold on and win.
Full extension.
That play was
throwing side.
Stupid. That's impossible.
Joe Davis said it was impossible, but Bobby Witt could do it.
Full extension to the third base side.
Yeah.
Got onto a knee and threw a one bounce strike to first. Now, granted, it was Alejandro Kirk running, and I love Alejandro Kirk. He's one of my favorite players. He's fun. He's a great story. He's slow. That doesn't.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He beat him by at least a step. It was
not close at first base.
No, but it needed to be a good throw. He needed to throw it from his knees, and he made an excellent play. And then almost next inning, a lot of people are also saying he got a look from Paul Skeens of that smirk over there.
It's not just a lot of people. Did you see the tweet from Libby Dunn?
Oh yeah.
She did the meme.
She's the one that did the meme. I saw the meme.
She put it out.
I didn't know it was her.
Yes,
oh, wow.
she posted that.
That's
I think that was probably someone on her team, right?
Yeah.
The former LSU gymnast who's dating Paul Skeens. It was the meme that's been a meme format for a decade now, probably, where the girl's looking at the guy and then the guy's looking at the other girl in the foreground, but they changed all the faces to where Paul Skeens is just giving that look to Bobby Witt.
Oh, yeah.
Because in the game, he kind of did. It was amazing, though. The first play in particular, the fact that it was not even a bang-bang play at first against a major league player, maybe the slowest one, but still it counts. That was special. And, like, he can hit, too. Bobby Witt's special.
Yeah,
He's a special player.
I cannot wait to watch him this year. He's hitting leadoff for Team USA, and it's kind of been a little bit of like the Royals have been okay with, like, okay, let's see how he does in that role. Maybe we file that away a little bit.
Should have traded for Brendan Donovan, but, I think Bobby Witt needs somebody on base. I bet him second. I bet Witt second if I'm the Royals.
So
find a leadoff hitter.
So we'll see what happens with the rest of the WBC. USA trying to clinch a spot tonight by taking on Italy. So that'll be Bobby Witt versus Vinny Pasquantino. That'll be interesting.
Versus
there.
Thomas DeJacy, I believe, is the shortstop for the Italians.
There you go. But up next, we'll talk some more free agency. What more do the Chiefs need to do? What's their biggest need next? We'll talk about it next.
Your foresight is so good, you can practically see into the future. But fortune telling isn't the career path you want to take. Instead of predicting people's futures, you can help build them at Fuse 32. Because you recognize things before they can even become problems. You love the thrill of success and getting paid for it. All that's left to do now is look into that crystal ball and see yourself on the sales team at Fuse 32. There's nothing we can't do. Apply now at Fuse32.com.
As we get into the heart of basketball season, 1851 Underground Tap and Grill wants to remind you whether you need a place to grab a bite after a local high school or college game, or you want to plop down with some friends and watch some of that college conference action on TV, they've got a spot for you. Your favorite cold beer or cocktail and delicious appetizer or dinner options on the menu. Check them out on Facebook or at 1851underground.com. It's no secret that it is underground. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill in the historic Brick District, downtown Fulton.
Hey, kids! Tired of working out in the peace and quiet of your own home? Why be comfy when you could be cringy? It's about time you signed up for a Gymbership. For 12 easy installments of $499.99, you can lie down on pre-soaked workout benches, enjoy awkward locker room talk, and get judged hard by dudes who look like they could rip a pickup truck in half. Gymbership comes with everything you see here, batteries not included. Or you could shop at Play It Again Sports for fitness and workout equipment. Think of them first so you don't finish last. PlayItAgainSportsColumbiaMo.com. We're trying to save people money. Go.
What if we cut sandwiches into thirds instead of halves?
We could stop buying warranties and just hope.
What about switching our toilet paper to half ply?
Ew.
It doesn't take a terrible think tank to save money. Just shop at Family Pawn. They've got jewelry, electronics, tools, and gifts for way less. No sacrifices, no half-ply TP. Ugh.
Shop your traditional pawn shop. Family Pawn.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, in Missouri's total sports station, KTGR.
I'm Christine Lisi. Geno Smith's NFL career has come full circle. Jets agreed to acquire him from the Raiders in a late pick swap in next month's NFL draft. After one of his worst NFL seasons in Vegas, he'll be New York's starting quarterback once again. ESPN NFL analyst Jason McCourty.
Coming from the Raiders, and the one thing you mentioned I think is so important. If I'm a quarterback, you talked about the young guys up front on the offensive line. What he just left with the Raiders, he was getting beat up last year. So now you get an opportunity to have five guys in front of you that can protect you. Yeah. You have Breece Hall, like you mentioned, to be able to get the ball on the outside. For Geno Smith, you're excited for the opportunity to go back and right or wrong almost in the sense of how you started your career.
Smith was New York starter from 2013 to the 2015 preseason until he wound up with a fractured jaw after being punched by a teammate in a locker room dispute. Patriots agreed to sign receiver Romeo Doubs $80 million over 4 years. He'll help fill the void by the soon-to-be released Stephon Diggs. Duke starting guard Caleb Foster, fractured foot, out indefinitely. NBA fined Lakers star Luka Doncic $50,000 for his money-making gesture directed at an official during Sunday's game.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance flexes to fit your business's needs. From quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options. Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
From Faroe.
15 to the 10, to the house.
Bush.
Back to the wall, and it's Goddard.
and Arrowhead.
Touchdown! Kansas City!
To your speakers.
This is the big show, baby.
Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is The Big Show with Andy and Brendan on KTGR.
The Chiefs did some shopping yesterday with free agency essentially open at this point. But other teams are still shopping. What do the Chiefs still need in free agency? We're going to talk about that coming up here in just a couple of minutes. And stay tuned for the segment because we're giving away some Mizzou baseball tickets at 5:20. So stay listening for that. And then we'll talk about some of the other things that have happened across NFL free agency, like Geno Smith going back to the Jets. Kind of crazy. Is that a good fit, bad fit? We'll talk about that, and we'll chat with Brian Smith of Mizzou Wrestling before we get out of here today. 573-875-KTGR to call or text. But first, it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the Top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
Mizzou men's basketball, according to Joe Nardi, is the last team with a bye in his latest update in bracketology. So they're right above the line of avoiding Dayton, but no other teams are below that line other than Mizzou just being right on it. And so a loss on Thursday probably means that they could be in that territory of the first 4. I think you want to avoid that as much as possible. Just the travel, logistics to it, and just playing another game. I think Mizzou needs to preserve as much of its good games as possible, as many as they have left now for this period in March. Just playing another one is going to expend more energy than you might not need to do if you just beat Kentucky, most likely on Thursday. We'll see if the Tigers can do that and solidify their spot in the field of 64 instead of having to play in from the first 4.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
13 straight wins for Mizzou baseball. Tigers beat Southern Indiana today, 14-6. Cam Durnan a home run, drove in 3 on total on the day. And Mizzou now at 15-2 will play their first conference games of the season this weekend as they host number 6 Auburn. That'll be their first real test. We'll see how it goes there. We'll give you a chance to win tickets to Friday night's game coming up at 5:20. Stay tuned.
Number 3.
So what do the Chiefs need now in free agency? Well, they got the running back, Kenneth Walker. They got Travis Kelce back. They got a defensive tackle in Kairos Tongo. I think will be really underrated going into this year. They also addressed the safety spot, got a replacement for Brian Cook, brought in Alohi Gilman from the Ravens to fill that spot. But now you maybe look at some other areas, like there's been talk about them potentially targeting a right tackle. Do you feel good about Jalen Moore taking that spot, or do you want more competition? Do you maybe go wide receiver? I don't know if they'll do that because the market's kind of taken off in a crazy way, but some interesting moves that'll definitely dictate their draft strategy going forward.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it.
And one of the former Chiefs, their former starting running back, Isaiah Pacheco, is now a Detroit Lion. He'll essentially be the backup to Jahmyr Gibbs after David Montgomery was traded to Houston. I like this fit for Pacheco. There are some others that I also like, but there's one that I really don't. We'll talk about it at 5:25.
Number 5.
What is the 5 fingers? Say to the face. Stop.
Utah Valley, I think, needs to be an NCAA tournament team, so that means they need to play in their conference tournament. In order to do that, they got to pay their exit fee to the WAC. Clock's ticking, guys.
That's The Big Show's Top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
Call or text us at 875-KTGR. We might need updates throughout the show because this is apparently the final hour that Utah Valley has to submit those $1 million to the court for their exit fee, since the WAC is asking for it. And yes, you do need to pay that. It's not nothing, by the way. It's not like an SEC school. Oh yeah, $1 million here, $1 million there. Not here. Nope. $1 million means something. These
Don't
schools
throw money around like it's nothing, like in the SEC. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, Greg Sankey had some thoughts about the round table, which maybe we'll get to here at some point, maybe today. But
yeah, they've got 54 minutes, Andy. They want that money by 5 p.m. Mountain Time.
Yeah,
and it's 4:06 Mountain Time.
Yeah.
Here on the Big Show, KTGR.
We are Phoenix-based sports show.
Well,
no, we're a Phoenix-based sports show. We know about Mountain Time. We're very
But
well
Arizona, do they? But that's
they
like
do
daylight
switch back and
savings
forth.
versus-
Yes, they do. Yeah. So sometimes they're
can't keep
Pacific,
track
sometimes they're
with
Mountain.
Arizona.
So
they don't like to adhere.
I think this time of year means they are, I believe, Pacific time, if I have that right.
What time is it in Phoenix? Yeah, it's 3:06 p.m.
Okay, so they're Pacific time
in
now.
Phoenix right now.
But-
so I think they just abandoned Mountain Time. They decided to be Pacific for the moment.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
Whenever daylight savings time comes around, they decide.
Like, we do nothing, and therefore we change time zones. You all do something, but claim you're in the same time zone. It's an identity crisis at the end of the day.
Well,
for somebody.
I mean, we are the only country that does this. Change our clocks twice a year.
It's weird that we do it twice a year. I love it way more during the current time. I don't like, we lose an hour, whatever that means. You actually don't. Parents of kids don't lose an hour because they don't know the difference. And so they're just going to wake up at whatever time their bodies wake them up. And if you don't have somewhere to be on Sunday morning, like I didn't, I slept in an extra hour, technically. Yeah. Whereas the one that happens in, November, when they do that one, and you're like, hey, get an extra hour. You do not. You do not get an extra hour if you have young kids.
Everything
because
is
they
the
don't know
same.
any different.
Yes. Yeah.
So it is the same. But this time everybody was lamenting like, oh, I lose it. I'm like, nope, we're just going to wake up when we wake up. Nothing changes over here.
And again, I don't understand why we're not adding daylight. We are just shifting the daylight over.
I like shifting the daylight. Shift it to the part when I'm awake and like with it,
I guess.
Not a morning person.
Well, would you rather have the daylight? Would you rather have this time setup of we are perpetually in daylight savings time all year round, or no daylight savings time at all?
I would rather have it the way it currently is. We never fall back. Just leave it the way that it is.
Leave it.
The people that would oppose it, and it'll be me in a couple of years, is then kids that have to get to the school and get to the bus stop. It's going to be dark and maybe unsafe levels of cold in a lot of places.
Yes.
For that reason. So acknowledging that it's maybe not feasible, but if I were the only thing that mattered, I would like it the way that it is now, because we'll get done with the show some days at 6:00, and it's like, it's long since been.
Oh yeah,
done.
it's dark.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now I feel like a completely different person. So I like it. I like the current setup that we get, and it tells you that even though I know the cold is coming, it's going to be cold again like next week. It feels like spring and summer are actually on the horizon, because there's light at the end of the day, light at the end of the tunnel, and at the end of our workday.
Totally. I mean, it's totally spring, right? We're not going to have any.
It's not
shifting.
Look at the forecast. It's not.
Yeah. Okay.
It was really nice today, though.
It was awesome today. In fact, I see people outside enjoying it right now. Hope you are.
They
too.
should be.
You're
Do it
on
while
the
you
show.
can.
Yeah. Exactly. It's supposed to rain tonight. 875-KTGR.
Yep.
Give us a call or a text. We'll give you a chance to win Mizzou baseball tickets at 520. Be listening for that. But let's talk some Chiefs in the meantime. They've done an excellent job in the first 24 hours of this. Getting the running back in, adding to the defensive line, getting a replacement for Brian Cook. Alohi Gilman coming in from Baltimore. He started last year with the Chargers, then traded mid-year, came in from Baltimore, started all the games for both sides. But now going to be with the Chiefs and bring experience to a room in the secondary that definitely needs the experience now, because they lost a whole bunch of guys from that 2022 draft class. So they've done a lot. And Kelsey coming back too, got some clarity there as to what you're working with. So now what? Do they need to look at right tackle, Brendan?
I think you probably want that as a depth addition, right? Like somebody to compete with Jalen Moore, but whoever wins out the job, that's okay. We don't always see that at the NFL level, in college. Yeah, let's have some depth in that room and have it a competition in camp.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of money that gets exchanged at this level to where you kind of want to know, I think, who you've got going in. But what if that guy's not capable? What if that guy is deficient in some regard and you want to protect against that? I think another addition, I don't know what the exact price point is, because you're trying to balance a lot of elements here, but I think that they've done fairly well so far with the way that they have have spent the money. And yeah, you splurged on running back, but I think it was justified. And so maybe like not the top guy out there, but get a guy that's got some experience that you can add into the room and say, hey, if it's not this guy, it's going to be the other one. And so we've got a little bit of coverage here because shoot, man, think back to the end of last season with all the injuries that you had. You're not automatically immune from having another year like that, where like when we look back on that Chiefs season and go, why didn't it go well? Well, they had a ton of injuries. They had a lot of other things that went wrong, but the injuries and especially the weirdness on the O-line where Simmons, it wasn't hurt, but he was away from the team and then he was hurt. Like I think depth on that tackle group is probably one of the most important places to have it. So I'd like to see them sign somebody who's been there, done that. Yeah.
It is a hard balance that they have to strike with Jalen Moore, though, right? Because they committed that money to him,
right?
The start of during this time last year, brought him in on a 2-year deal worth about close to $40 million. I think it was around 38 or so. That's a lot of money for an unproven guy at that position. Was playing behind a future Hall of Famer, like no doubt Trent Williams will be there. And then he comes into Kansas City as kind of the swing guy. And so the fact that they haven't necessarily seen everything that maybe they needed to see and what they have seen, like it would lend me to believe that maybe they don't like everything that has been shown from Jalen Moore.
He's a swing guy, not being paid like one, though. You know what I mean? Like,
and again, if you wanted him to solidify into a starting role into one of those spots, most likely right tackle, then wouldn't you have given him an extension to move some of that money around and possibly free up more free agency cap space
this year?
To add around it. So that's the hard part about this is that I think best case scenario, Jalen Moore's your guy, but are you going to get the most out of Jalen Moore if he's got that $18 million and nobody around him to try and wrestle the job away from him, right?
And like you've got a lot of draft picks, but if you're talking about drafting a tackle in the mid rounds, that a lot of times those guys don't just waltz right in and compete to play.
Yeah.
You know, they can be projects that are worthwhile projects to pursue, but unless they're spending a really early round pick, but even those early round picks, if you put too much too soon on the plate of an offensive lineman that you draft because you say, well, we put the draft capital into him, we need him to play, that can be hit and miss. Like we felt like with Simmons, it was going to work out very well because you thought he was a blue chipper who falls to the end of the first round due to injury concerns. And then the Chiefs were in the position to say, yeah, you know what, bring Jalen Moore. He'll kind of fill in. And when Simmons is ready, we actually think he's going to be healthier sooner than maybe the NFL as a whole thought of him, and that's why he falls to us. But then other reasons he's not able to spend 17 games starting at left tackle for you. And so now you're like, okay, the Simmons expenditure feels like worth it, but we're kind of incomplete. The Jalen Moore expenditure, feel like we know why we did it, but now we're here a year later going, can we trust it?
Did we make the right move? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you already regret giving that type of contract out? Which I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking, but and there's a lot of noise around it. This is a time of year where you got to be really careful about what you're seeing as far as, who are the Chiefs interested in and reports and things like that. Who says what about who might be available, who will be connected to whom. And so I don't know how hard the Chiefs will look at this. I would prefer that they look at another veteran corner option so that you can have somebody else in that rotation that you can trust. Maybe you look more at the wide receiver spot, although receiver market's gotten crazy, man.
Okay, can we talk about that? I know we're going to touch on it more coming up,
sure.
But Rashid Shaheed got a bigger contract than Kenneth Walker.
Yeah.
I get it. They're positional value, but
right.
I'll take the Kenneth Walker deal, I think, relative to that one.
That's pretty wild. I mean, I was more thinking of the Alec Pierce wildness of it. That one was just like, come
Alec
on.
Pierce, good for him.
Golly. That.
I remember when Christian Kirk signed his big contract
with the Jags.
It was like one of those big 4 years, $72 million.
Yeah.
You're like, man, it pays to be a middling wide receiver. And then he ends up being a pretty good player, but like still that contract, everybody ripped the Jaguars when they signed him to that deal. And it was something that he like, I've seen articles written about him kind of internalizing that and kind of, not having that great day that, you thought you might have when you signed your big deal because people telling you suck. Alec Pierce being $100 million player. That dude caught a handful of long bomb touchdowns this year that it seemed like every week he was catching one, and he turned it into $116 million. Good for him.
Golly.
Good for him, man, because I think he's kind of that one-trick pony for the most part. It's a very good trick.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very nice trick. And the Colts thought so. They're who gave it to him. It's not like he went somewhere else. But
I don't think any other team was even within that $20 million of that total money number at the end of the day.
That's what I don't know if that, if that's the case, how is it that he gets, how do they make that decision?
I have no clue.
We should ask Will Carroll about that being in Indy. Like, that's just a weird, good for him.
Yeah.
But, that doesn't seem like probably a contract that'll age well.
I mean, wide receiver options may be limited for the Chiefs because of their situation and like what happens there. And they probably need more edge rusher, probably what they need to add beforehand.
Yeah.
And
can I ask too about this tackle conversation? And maybe it's just the ship has sailed, but good old Kingsley. I mean, they drafted him in the second round.
I think he's a guard.
Just a guard at this point.
I think he's.
So who do you really have that could on the roster that you would say, this is your depth behind Jalen Moore if we just decide that this is what we're going with?
Yeah,
and draft somebody
it's not
in the
great
fourth.
right now. I'd say they like Esapole. They feel like they hit, kind of gold with that, with him being an undrafted guy, but actually kind of held his own when he was called upon. So he's like the backup at either spot at the moment, at either left or right tackle. You can throw him there. I don't think you feel good about him being the only backup though. So like that's probably what it looks like, is that you bring in a tackle that 1 year, $10 to $12 million, compete for this job. Is that a lot to give to somebody who's only competing for a job and may not win it?
Now you spent $30 million essentially on
to figure out your right tackle
Jalen
spot.
Moore being
and you're still not sure what it is. But and again, that's the cost of protecting Mahomes, right? Like that is what you need to do.
It is the cost when you draft linemen and they don't turn into the guys that you need them to be. And I'm not saying like Simmons can't be good. I think hopefully everything settles in and he's what you want. And part of that too, imagine if they didn't spend the money on Jalen Moore, because where they were is okay, got to have these tackles, got to have somebody. And then they draft Simmons and it's like, oh, we feel like we're fortunate that he fell to us, that we were able to pick him up. But it's like now a year later, if you didn't have Jalen Moore, you would certainly be talking about spending on a Jalen Moore contract or something beyond that to try to stem the tide. That makes me wonder if they really end up liking a tackle in the top 10, if they would say, it might be a little bit of overkill for this year because you do have Jalen Moore that could play it. But if you had two tackles on rookie contracts for a couple of years and they both paid out, I don't think you can draft a right tackle in the top 10 if you're hoping Simmons is going to lock down left tackle.
I would hate that. I would hate tackle at 9. I really would.
I think it's probably wrong because I think edge rusher is a more difficult thing to find at that top tier.
Yeah.
With money. Like, I don't think you're buying the tackle the edge rusher that's going to suddenly open that up and get you the pass rush you wanted.
Call or text us at 875-KTGR. Let's go out to the KTGR hotline now. Hello, who's this?
Hey, this is Seamus.
Seamus, what you got? You're on the big show.
All right, 3 quick things. Offensive tackles. They weren't willing to pay out double digits to Illuminor out of New York. So this year you're really looking at depth. So you're looking at Esapole. You're looking at Wanya Morris is in the last year of his contract if he's healthy enough to play. Ethan Driscoll is still technically on the non-football injury list, but on the roster exception as well. So maybe he comes back. Number 2, on the edge thing. I think tomorrow is going to be very telling about what they're doing, whether that is Bradley Chubb finally actually getting released by Miami because he has to be released by the start of the new league year tomorrow afternoon, or if they are indeed actually going after somebody like Trey Hendrickson. Veach was very specific about adding 2 D linemen in some of his interviews this offseason. So you got to think that one of those 2 guys are on the radar with all of the young guys being signed. And then finally, a bit of fun information. With the Sky Moore to Green Bay contract that just happened in the last half an hour, Najee Johnson is the only player from the 2022 Chiefs draft class that has not hit a second contract in the NFL. I'll hang up now.
Yo, appreciate it, Seamus. You're on the Big Show, KTGR.
So we talked about that draft class being just a smash when it came to the secondary and, some of the Brian Cook edition, and obviously McDuffie was traded, but now has gotten paid. Jalen Watson was in that draft class as a stupendous 7th round value. Isaiah Pacheco was a good value in that round, and Najee was the last pick in that draft from Kansas City. So that's, overall, I think we kind of look at the Karlaftis pick and say, like, man, wish he has really, really blossomed more because he's a first rounder. And so you kind of place those expectations. But yeah, looking back at that draft, it's funny, Andy, I don't think we maybe give it as much credit because Sky Moore felt kind of like a bust, but technically he's still kicking. So.
Pretty much everybody else was vital to the Chiefs rebuilding that defense. And the thing is,
defense especially,
that draft needs to happen again this year.
You need that draft on defense again.
That's what they need right here, right now. They've got a month and a half to figure that out when the NFL draft comes very soon. Give us a call or a text on the Chiefs at 875-KTGR. But now let's give away some Mizzou baseball tickets. Tigers won today. That's 13 straight. They're 15-2. They are on a roll right now. We'll see what that looks like in conference play, obviously, but huge series to start out as they take on number 6 Auburn this weekend. And first pitch for Friday's game will be at 6:00. We have some pairs of tickets to give away for that game on Friday at 6. If you are one of the winners of our trivia challenge that we're about to give out the question here, call or text us. This will be a texting challenge, 875-KTGR. Give us the correct answer. You'll win a pair of tickets to Mizzou baseball versus Auburn this Friday, 6:00 at Taylor Stadium. Here is the question. 2019 was the last year that 2 Mizzou baseball players were selected in the first round of the MLB draft. Name one of those 2 players. We'll give you extra credit if you get both of them. But name one of the 2 players that was drafted in the first round of that 2019 MLB draft. Call or text us, 573-875-KTGR, the correct answer. If you're one of the first few to get the correct answer, you'll get a pair of tickets to Mizzou baseball this Friday at 6:00. Good luck, everybody. We'll talk more NFL free agency next on The Big Show.
The Big Show with Andy and Brendan continues next on your total sports station, KTGR.
Paradise doesn't have to be far away. Sometimes it's a quiet walk through a state park. Sometimes it's your favorite takeout and a night in. At Shangri-La, we believe that cannabis belongs in those everyday moments, not as an escape, but as part of living well. That's why we offer 20% off select category every day, plus 20% off store-wide every Sunday. Thoughtful products, honest guidance, real value. Shangri-La, discover paradise. Learn more at ShangriLaDispensaries.com.
You could be right in the middle of celebrating a big win, and all of a sudden, bang, you've got ants on the counter or mice in the garage. Hi, I'm Mike Kelly. As someone who's called buzzer beaters and game winners for 3 decades, I think the best call that you can make is to Steve's Pest Control. I'm on the road a lot during the season, which is why I've signed up for Steve's 5-star pest control program. It's comforting to know that even when I'm not home, Steve's Pest Control is protecting my house from termites and other pests. Plus, the 5-star program keeps the pests at bay, controlling and eliminating them before they have a chance to enter your home. Scheduling is incredibly easy. You don't even have to be home. And if a pest problem pops up at any time, Steve's will perform a retreat for no additional charge. Call Steve's Pest Control today and ask about their 5-star pest control program so you can kick back, relax, and enjoy the game.
Hi, I'm Steve with Steve's Pest Control. We're going to solve your pest problem. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control.
My name is Barry Rowe with True Sun Exteriors and Interiors. I started True Sun Exteriors and Interiors in 2010, and I started working with the Zimmer team. It was the first advertising option that I tried was radio, stayed with that, and it started seeing results with that in a relatively quick time frame. And with the Zimmer team, with the creativity that they can help you with, the ideas, and just their advice makes it such a core piece of what we do to get our name out in the community and brand it.
Zimmer Communications. You know business. We grow business. ZimmerCommunications.com.
Your foresight is so good, you can practically see into the future. But fortune telling isn't the career path you want to take. Instead of predicting people's futures, you can help build them at Fuse 32. Because you recognize things before they can even become problems. You love the thrill of success and getting paid for it. All that's left to do now is look into that crystal ball and see yourself on the sales team at Fuse 32. There's nothing we can't do. Apply now at Fuse32.com.
My name is Matt. We used True Sun Exteriors for a pretty big siding project for our house. We used LP Smart Side. We did all new Pella windows, new fascia, new soffits, and they did a house wrap for us. True Sun was great. They communicated well. Whenever they got very large amounts of, say, the front and the side done, it was just awesome just to kind of see just the difference and what the house looked like. True Sun wasn't the cheapest. They weren't the most expensive. We did consider multiple options, but I think at the end of the day, I'd work with True Sun. It's good to see someone's proposal being so detailed and line item. You know, we're protecting our investment, and we love True Sun. We love Nevada and their whole team, and I'm confident that if we ever have any issues, they'll be there as soon as they can.
The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com.
Tired of calling Andy and Brendan? So are their wives. Then shoot them a text right now. 573-875-KTGR and become part of the Big Show.
Get our trivia question for Mizzou baseball tickets. You can win one more pair of tickets that is available now. We do have our a couple of winners, but we're looking for one more. You can text in one of the two correct answers to us. 2019 was the last time that Mizzou baseball had two players drafted in the first round of the MLB draft. Name one of those two players. 573-875-KTGR. The number to text us, one of the two correct answers. By the way, clarification, before the second round. The first round, we are including all of the compensatory and competitive balance, everything like that. Yes. Yeah. That is all included in the first round for these purposes. So, but yeah, they had two guys that year. It's pretty impressive. So, again, we'll leave that open for a little bit more. If you want to text in the correct answer, next person to do that will win a pair of tickets to go see Mizzou baseball this Friday at 6 o'clock as they take on Auburn in their first SEC game. 875-KTGR. Text us that number. That should be a fun game, man. I mean, obviously looking forward to seeing Mizzou ramp up the competition. You've seen what they've done so far. That's been pretty darn impressive. But now, what can they do against what is going to be a beast of an SEC schedule?
Yeah, but I mean, imagine if they can start off on a strong note here in the when it comes to conference play against a top 10 team. You're going to see plenty of top 10 teams this year. I mean, that would instantly take us, I think, from this, hey, excited about the record, and that's really all well and good. But then it would be pretty much instantly, I would say, it would legitimize a lot of that excitement to say, hey, it's not just going to be the non-con. They're going to be competitive in these series and, scratch off some wins and some series wins. Just being in the mix is really all it's going to take in a conference like this. So excited to see how they show on the weekend.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting there, and we'll certainly be looking at how they're able to navigate that series. We'll see how they navigate the weather too. It'll probably be rainy on Sunday. We'll see how they do there, but either way, should be fun. As the Tigers once again win today, 14-6 over Southern Indiana. All right, who has been the best fit in NFL free agency so far out of the moves that you've seen, and who's been the worst fit? I really like Isaiah Pacheco to the Lions, man.
Do you?
I do. He does not need to be the star there, but Jameer,
and he won't get a chance to be.
What? What do you mean? Well, okay, I get Jameer Gibbs. Yes, he will be the star.
They were obsessed with Monty because they liked Monty. Pacheco is a backup to a guy that can be a workhorse, and that feels appropriate. I think that's Gibbs should be one of the most dominant guys to touch the football at the running back position in the NFL, like Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor. I think it's time to see if Jahmyr Gibbs can be on that level, but they'll put Pacheco in there, and I'll lament it just like I did when they put David Montgomery in there. And I think Pacheco will be.
That might be what they want to do. Like that's
the timeshare will not be the same. I promise you, it won't be the split.
Probably not the same like Montgomery to Pacheco, but if it's like what was it earlier, 60-40, just about closer to that.
Yeah, it was more this year, and there was they didn't have success, and so maybe they'll say, hey, the reason is we too much of our best player. I think it was a timeshare prior to this past season, and we saw, I think, in the way that the two players played, why Gibbs should be the guy dominating the touches. You're bringing in a lesser Montgomery to fill that role, so I think he should probably see the field less. But I do think it's good for Pacheco because he'll be on a team that it's a good offense. It's an opportunity to kind of show, that the struggles the last couple of years were more health related, and you're able to get on the other side of that, then that's great. But I think it's a nice fit, hopefully in a very small role is my hope. Not to rip him too bad, but I'm excited to see if they can let Gibbs open it up and really eat.
Well, I'll tell you my worst fit.
Okay.
Malik Willis.
Why is it
Dolphins.
a bad fit though? Why not a good
out?
fit?
It's not gonna. Why are the Dolphins doing that? They're gonna do that.
Exciting.
Just keep Tua. Just keep Tua if you're gonna do that.
Malik Willis can run, baby.
No, this is I get it. There's clearly a connection between the two because Jeff Hafley was coming over from Green Bay and knew exactly how to get him there. I don't think it's gonna work out. This is not the type of move that the Dolphins should have made at QB. Another stopgap. Like, what's your plan? Like, what's going on here? Malik Willis, I get it. He was going to get it back from somebody.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he doesn't deserve the chance to be a guy somewhere and try to establish himself as a starter in this league and maybe even crack the top half of starters in this league if things really go well. But I just don't get it from the Dolphins' perspective at all. Like, you're going to pay all this money to make Tua go away. That would lend me to believe that you're going to be in the draft market for quarterback and you're going to look for your next guy that you can develop. Like, not this. Like, this is not what teams do. This is not what teams that are in the Dolphins' position should do, at least.
Malik Willis, it'll be interesting because we think we know who he is, and the Dolphins think we know something that the NFL has yet to discover, or they were just enamored with the couple of good games he had filling in for Jordan Love this year, and they're like, oh yeah, remember when he was being discussed as a potential top 10 pick and, everybody was excited about Malik Willis and landed with the Titans, right? Like, not a great landing spot necessarily, but he was a toolsy player that a lot of people were excited about when he was coming out. I mean, I think people trying to capture the Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels lightning in a bottle is why a guy like Malik Willis gets all this money. And it's enough money that he'll be the starter for sure. It's interesting. I think if you're buying a poor man's Jaden Daniels or a poor man's Lamar Jackson, you probably are going to deal with the result of that because, by the way, those two quarterbacks haven't always won. It's a volatile way to play the position when you're running around and you're an injury risk. Lamar's dealt with injuries. Jaden Daniels has certainly dealt with injuries. So he's fun. I like watching Malik Willis fill in, but yeah, I'm not sure that it's going to elevate the Dolphins. But I think they saying, look, what if he is Lamar Jackson and we got him for a super reasonable price for a few years? I don't know. I think worse money has been spent in the history of this league, but I generally agree that I don't really have high expectations. It's the running of it. It's the dual threat. People get googly eyes with it, and we'll see what he can be, but we haven't seen him really in a starting role. especially as a player that kind of goes to his second team, the Packers, and maybe a little bit better of a system to learn the game at this level. I'll give him a chance. I don't think he can be worse than Tua, but you're right. Like, you didn't reset your clock, but the Dolphins didn't lose enough games to be drafting a quarterback this year anyway. And so you spend the money, you can cut him after 2 years. That's like every NFL contract. I don't think it's I'm not.
That's if you got the money, spend it. But yeah,
I would have liked to have seen Malik Willis with like an offensive minded coach. Like, I don't know, Mike McDaniel. Maybe that's the part of it that bothers me is like, I think they could have kept him and done something like this to see if he could unlock somebody like a Malik Willis. But I know that probably is not a popular take. Mike McDaniel just didn't work out there.
No. Who's your best fit and your worst fit so far?
My best fit got to be Trey Hendrickson on the Chiefs.
Well,
we didn't talk about that. It was like Seamus mentioned it, and I was thinking, what do you think about that? Is that something that, because the Bradley Chubb thing, if he gets cut, do you really think that they could make a run at one of those big edge rushers, and that would be a second?
We've seen one overcorrection before, and
Yeah.
in this free agency, I wouldn't rule out another one. That would be very interesting. It would solve the problem, if you ask me.
All right. I'm going to say a good fit that I actually like, and he's completely free. I think it's fun that Geno Smith is going back to the Jets. Late
I
round
actually
pick.
think so too, yeah.
Here's the thing. The Jets are not the number one pick, and we kind of think Mendoza is the only quarterback we really like in this draft class that could step right in and be an NFL starter. And so if you're the Jets and you've made trades to pick up a lot of draft capital, you're continuing to build that team out, there's no reason that you can't bring in a guy like Geno Smith when it costs you nothing to do and say, let him try it again. I don't think it's going to turn them into playoff team this next year, but you kind of don't want to be one because you're hoping to eventually be able to draft that next quarterback and make it happen. But, I think that one's a fun fit. I think the Seahawks overpaid for Rashid Shaheed. That's the one that I can't, their wide receiver core is JSN, who's a stud, Cooper Kupp, who's still playing at a pretty high level. And I like that Torrey Horton kid that did end up getting injured, so we didn't see him in the playoffs. But I feel like they probably didn't need to spend $51 million on a receiver. But the caveat is you won the Super Bowl. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. But I would say that that's one where I'm like, yeah, I don't really necessarily understand that one.
That's not money that I would have spent.
Could have let him walk,
that one. And so, he did his job for what you needed him to do. And so you just kind of
won the Super Bowl. Own it.
Yeah, you're there.
What about Wan'Dale Robinson?
Oh, to the Titans?
Along with a number of his teammates.
Yeah.
I saw a tweet that was like, Brian Dable has these players with the Giants that get him fired because they don't win enough. And he's just signing a bunch of them. It's not him doing it, but kind of is.
Right.
I think that one's kind of funny.
That is hilarious. But Titans can do whatever they want. I'm not going to pay attention to them until
Titans. Wan'Dale Robinson, I'm going to say don't love that. But I guess if the guy who called the offense that made him get a bunch of targets in New York is going to be calling the offense here, that maybe it'll be fine.
875 KTGR. It was the best fit and the worst fit so far in NFL free agency. Tell us what you think. Brian Smith of Mizzou Wrestling will talk to us next about two individual Big 12 champions that the Tigers were able to feature this past weekend at the Big 12 championships in Tulsa. And as they're preparing for the NCAA championships, we'll discuss it with him next.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. Mizzou baseball today with a victory over Southern Indiana, 14-6. That is a 15-2 start for Mizzou in non-conference play and a 13-game winning streak, their longest since the 2017 season. Tigers now will start conference play this weekend. Mizzou facing number 6 Auburn, who will come to Columbia for a 3-game set beginning on Friday evening at 6 o'clock. You'll hear it right here on KTGR. Mizzou softball yesterday lost to Florida 5-2. Florida completes a 3-game sweep of the Tigers in that Saturday to Monday series. Mizzou, after an 0-3 start to conference play, is now 7-5 16 overall. They'll be back at home tomorrow, scheduled to play against Tennessee Martin at 3:30. And Mizzou men's basketball's Mark Mitchell was given his second consecutive All-SEC selection yesterday. The league named him to the All-SEC second team. He and the Tigers will play their first SEC tournament game as the 8th seed on Thursday at 11:30 against either Kentucky or LSU.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking showers and storms tonight. Some of those could be strong to severe as a weather alert day continues through late this evening. Showers will continue through tomorrow, ending by around midday. Temperatures continue to fall throughout the day from the mid-50s down into the 40s by late afternoon. Heading towards Thursday, we start out near the freezing mark in the morning. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
And show is almost here. This Saturday, March 14th at the Northeast Events Center where the Boone County Fair is held. You can win prizes in the hot wing eating contest or enter to win prizes like sweet tickets to a Mizzou game, iron rocking chairs with a fire pit, Royals pub table, concert tickets, and more. With food trucks and tasty beverages available. Plus, a portion of the proceeds will be given to the VIP Veteran Pack program. General admission and VIP tickets on sale now at ComoManShow.com.
Farming comes with pride and pressure. Long days, unpredictable weather, rising costs, and worries that don't quit. You don't have to carry that stress alone. Talking helps. Show Me Strong Farm Families offers free, confidential telehealth counseling with professionals who understand agriculture. Search Show Me Strong Farm Families and take the first step. Call 573-882-4677 because talking helps. Brought to you by University of Missouri Extension.
Brian Ware Plumbing and Restoration has answered a lot of your calls over the years. And you've helped him grow his business immensely. So he wanted to take a second to say thank you. Oof, that was pretty emotional. We couldn't have said it better ourselves. So keep calling Brian to unplug your plumbing problems. BrianWarePlumbing.com.
If it's Mizzou sports, it's happening here. Now, back to the big show on KTGR.
We're back here on the big show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Andy Humphrey here. It is almost time for the NCAA championships in wrestling, the Tigers, after the Big 12 championships this past weekend in Tulsa, they finished 4th as a team. That was an improvement from last year, and got a couple of individual conference champions as well. Aiden Sinclair at 184 and Cam Steed getting it done at 174 this past weekend. Tigers also had 2 other wrestlers automatically qualify for the NCAA championships in Jarrett Stoner and Gage Walker. And joining us now, Mizzou wrestling coach Brian Smith on the KTGR hotline. Coach, to have those guys knowing for sure that they're going to be in the NCAA championships in a couple of weeks, and then knowing that you might even have a few more, how did you kind of see your individual guys go through that weekend to solidify their spot?
I mean, the 4 that qualified did a great job this weekend. Gage Walker wrestled above his seed and upset a highly ranked, top 10 ranked individual from Northern Colorado. Cam Steed had lost his quarter, semi, and finals matches were 3 of his early season losses, and he beat all 3 of them. So we called it his revenge tour. But he got back and, got those big wins, and Aiden just was Aiden, dominating his weight class and did a really good job. So real pleased with those guys. And Jarrett Stoner, was wrestled above his seed and finished 5th, I think, for us, and just did an outstanding job. As a sophomore, he's doing great things. So excited for him. And then we just had some other guys just not wrestle up to the qualifying spot. So we got to wait, and we find out sometime today if they get the spot. So we're hoping for 2 or 3 more.
Yeah, and we'll certainly see how many more wrestlers get a chance to be in Cleveland in a couple of weeks. But talking about some of those other wrestlers that you had discussed there, it certainly was a big boost for your team, it seemed, when Gage Walker got that upset over Serrano, who was the reigning Big 12 champion in that class. And to have that punch his ticket to the next round into the semifinals, to see that moment from a wrestler like him that's gotten better each and every time out. How have you seen him develop into this spot?
He needed that big win. Your athletes, when they're younger, and he's young, if it's only his 2nd year wrestling for us, he started as a true freshman. And to have him go out, in a match that he's heavily the underdog and get that big win, he found a way. And I had told him the night before that there's going to be adversity in some of these matches, but you have to deal with it and fight through it. And when you do, you're going to find a way to win. And it's exactly what happened in that match. It was a dogfight. It went like 9 minutes, and he found a way to win and got the takedown. And it was, now he's gotten that big win, and now it's just going out and doing that more. And that's got to become the norm for you. And so I'm excited for him. That was a good win, and it was a good win for everybody. Was like, yes, he's in. Now let's get more in.
For sure. Brian Smith, Mizzou wrestling coach here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. And you also mentioned Jarrett Stoner, up and down season for him, obviously, but after an opening round loss, he really battles back and is able to rack up more points for your team and qualify himself, finishing in 5th place in the heavyweight division. Came in as the 7th seed, so he outperformed to make sure that he could get more of those points. How did you kind of see him bounce back from an early loss to then claw back into a spot that was favorable for him and your team?
Jarrett's a kid. It's hard not to love him because he's just, he's a 4.0 student. He's pre-med. He does everything right, lives in the weight room. He's trying to get bigger because he's really an undersized heavyweight, and he uses his speed and quickness. And to see how far he's come from last year and just getting better and better, that was neat. It's just to see him get through, and not only get through, but then win his last match over a kid that's ranked in the top 32. So he just continues to grow and get better. I wish I could put 20 pounds on him with some of these guys he's wrestling. He's given up like 20, 30 pounds in every match, but he's finding ways to do it. So proud of him.
So he automatically qualifies. And then, of course, the 2 individual champions that you had. I mean, Cam Steed coming in as the 3 seed, and you mentioned the fact that he got some revenge against those earlier opponents. But how tough do you think it was for him to claw into those matches once again and be able to turn the result back in his favor in those instances?
We knew he could do it, and he knew it. and it was just his training. We had him prepared for, these guys are going to come at him hard and try to push on him, but he handled it well, scored the takedowns, and even in the finals, the Okie State kid was trying to just get stall calls on him, and he just kept scoring. And he cradled him up at one point to score 4 and then scored a couple takedowns. So he just did a good job. It got a little crazy in the finals, but he found a way. It's a very pro Oklahoma State crowd. I think we set the attendance record for Big 12 wrestling, but it was mostly Oklahoma State crowd. And the cool thing about it, it was in Tulsa, and he's from Tulsa. So there was a lot of people there for Cam too. So when he got that win, you could hear a lot of people, high school people, and that know him. And so it was a really special night for him to win the Big 12 in his hometown of Tulsa.
Certainly a great moment for Cam Steed there. Mizzou wrestling coach Brian Smith is here with us on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. And Aiden Sinclair, as you mentioned, just being Aiden, right? Doing what he has been expected to do a lot of these cases. I mean, for him to not only back that up, but to also do so in a way that was pretty dominant. How did you kind of see him approach this particular tournament, knowing that, look, there's a lot of expectation on him and he has to carry that weight sometimes?
Yeah, going into it, I was a little nervous just because he had a flu bug and didn't practice much early in the week. And you just never know how that's going to affect an athlete, especially in a sport like ours where conditioning is such a factor. And in his first couple matches, he looked really good. And then his semis, that guy, he had a battle with him last time in the duel, but he controlled it this year. So really, then in the finals, I was like, man, he's just looking better and better. And he unleashed a couple nice takedowns and dominated the match. So really pleased with how he did, but I know that was not his best, that he's going to be feeling great for NCAAs and looking forward to it.
Yeah, and certainly I'm sure he has been thinking about that to build up to that point. And all of your wrestlers obviously are doing that too, with the big one coming up very soon in a little more than a week. But for a guy like Aiden, who has spent almost all season being in the top 3 ranked in his weight class, we'll see what seed he ends up getting tomorrow. But just you've had wrestlers be in that same kind of situation before going into this NCAA championship meet. How has he kind of been similar to those guys as he is treating it, or maybe different in your sense?
I mean, his mindset is I'm winning the national title. He'll probably almost for sure get the 2 seed. The Penn State kid will won the Big Ten. He's undefeated, so he'll get the 1 seed. So they'll be the 1 and 2, and then we'll see who's going to be 3 and all that kind of stuff. But it's a tough weight. When you go about 8 deep, there's 8 guys that are really, really good. So there's going to be, from the quarterfinals on, some serious dogfights and highly ranked and everybody has a chance to have an opportunity to win it. But Aiden's mindset is just every time he's in the practice room, what he's working on, it's to make himself get a little bit better in every position. And that even showed even in the finals. Just he's been working to get better on top, and he just rode the heck out of the kid and wore him out. The kid just shut the match down. There was no opportunity for him. So did a great job.
And certainly with him and the rest of the team preparing for the NCAA championships, as you get closer to that time, how do you expect those wrestlers who, again, you'll find out for sure who, in fact, is all going by the end of today, how do you look to see how they will prepare for those moments coming soon, as they'll have at least a week to be ready for it and then travel probably middle of next week?
Yeah, nothing changes. It's the same things we've been doing every day in practice, and just, refining little things. Here's what you can do a little bit better here and there, and that's all you can do. Nothing. You shouldn't be making major changes the week of the NCAAs. It's just what you've been doing, keep doing it, and do it better.
Sounds good. Well, again, the Tigers get 2 individual champions at the Big 12 championships in Tulsa this past weekend. They finished 4th in the team standings. At least 4 guys will be heading to Cleveland for the NCAA championships in a week and a half. We'll see how many more get to go as Brian Smith, Mizzou Wrestling, joins us here on the Big Show KTGR. Coach, congrats on a successful weekend. Appreciate you taking the time today, and good luck as you prepare for the NCAAs.
Thanks, Andy.
It's the Big Show on KTGR and the KTGR app. And since we recorded that conversation with Brian Smith a little bit earlier, we now do know who all is going to be in the field from Missouri in the NCAA Wrestling Championships. Mac Mauger did get an at-large bid at 125, as did Evan Bates at 197. And Josh Edmond at 149 is an alternate. So it'll be 7 wrestlers in that mix for Mizzou at the NCAA Championships starting next Thursday in Cleveland. It'll run through Saturday. Of course, all eyes will be on Aiden Sinclair to see if he can capture a national championship. Still be paying attention to the other guys, though. Cam Steed is a returning All-American, trying to get that status once again. Certainly the automatic qualifiers and the ones now that know that they have a chance to climb up the bracket themselves. Should be an interesting time for Mizzou Wrestling next week as they get going in the NCAA championships. We thank you for joining us today. Again, we'll be back at 4 o'clock tomorrow to talk more about Mizzou. By then, we'll know their opponents in the SEC tournament coming up, whether it's either Kentucky or LSU. So we'll preview that matchup. We'll also talk more NFL pre-agency. We'll give you another chance to win Como Man Show tickets, too. Don't miss your chance for that at 5:20 tomorrow. You can go find out all the details at ktgr.com and buy your own tickets if you'd like to do that, too. Go check it out over at ktgr.com or on the KTGR app. Amber and Ian is up next, so stay tuned for that. We're back tomorrow. He's Brendan. I'm Andy. We're done for now.
Hey, construction dude, congrats on the killer contract in Cape. Sweet. So, how are you